I've noticed something interesting about my prayers over these past several weeks. I find myself using the word protection a lot, much more than I ever did before. I think that says a lot about my life and the privilege I know. I know there are many others who pray for protection each and every day, so that gives me a lot to think about. But now I'm praying for protection for people who are sick, for people who are helping them, for people who are at work, for people who are at risk, for people who are struggling, for people who are hungry, for my own family and friends. God, protect them, I pray, every day. For someone who's not used to praying for protection, I got to wondering what that really means. I don't believe that God caused a particular virus. I don't believe that God intervenes to keep one person safe, but not another. So when I ask for protection, what do I really mean? What do I hope for? I guess what I hope for and what I believe are found in two of our scripture passages for this week. One is the familiar 23rd Psalm, and the other is John chapter 10, verses 1 through 10. These are the passages we think of when we consider the Good Shepherd. It's a shepherd's job to protect their animals, so these passages are perfect for looking at the kind of protection that we can expect and hope for from God. So I'm going to skip around these two scriptures a bit to look at some traits of the Good Shepherd so we can think about what they mean for us today. There is comfort and direction from a shepherd who knows your name, and you know the shepherd's voice. It's familiar and it's safe. Last week, I talked about the disciple on the road to Emmaus who didn't have a name. Well, this week, I realized that wasn't accurate at all. That person had a name. The writer of the story might not have thought it was important enough to include, but the person certainly had a name. We don't know the name, but Jesus knew their name. We are known by God, and as we deepen our relationship with God, we come to know God's voice more and more. What a gift that is right now. There are voices coming at us from every direction, some helpful, some not helpful, some voices even coming from within ourselves that are helpful or not, depending. To identify God's voice in that mix is so important, to be able to follow the voice that leads us to life and away from fear and narrow-mindedness and hate. The shepherd protects us by leading us to the things we truly need. We have our fill right now from all kinds of pastures, but the one God leads us to is green, life-giving. We could get swept away by all kinds of rushing waters right now, waters that lead us into frenzy and confusion, that sweep us away into the turmoil of becoming overwhelmed or desperate. The water to which God leads us is still and refreshing, life-giving, and calming. The thing about a good shepherd is that nothing is out of the question when it comes to protection. Push, pull, drag, climb, lead, yell, feed, whisper, defend. Nothing is too much trouble or too dangerous. There are no limits to the protection, and with God there are no limits to the love. Speaking of no limits, the passage from the Gospel of John has Jesus explaining that he is the gate for the sheep. So in addition to leading the sheep around all day, keeping them safe and fed, the Good Shepherd literally lies down and becomes the door through which any danger would have to pass. The shepherd becomes the physical gate to keep danger away, using their body, their very presence, to provide protection by day and protection by night. And so I come to understand that it is the presence of Christ that protects me. that protects us. Not protection from getting sick, perhaps. Certainly not protection from grief or disappointment. People we love are sick. People we love have died, sometimes alone. We grieve the loss of people in ways we never wanted or imagined. A dear friend said to me the other day, there are some things that just shouldn't be drive-by. Funerals are definitely one such thing. We're not protected from the challenges or the difficulties or the pain. We are protected from ever going through them alone. Christ protects us with Christ's very presence, reminding us at every moment that there really is nothing that can separate us from the love of God. And how does God remind us of this? Every way God can, with a rod and a staff, with a familiar voice, with an extravagant tablescape, helping us to overcome our enemies, the fear, the self-doubt, the disease, the divisions and hatred, all the things that threaten us. In the midst of our vulnerability, God does whatever it takes to let us know that we are not alone and to protect us from what to me is possibly the biggest threat of all, thinking or feeling that we are alone. The psalmist made the statement in faith, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." Goodness and mercy will follow us, will pursue us, will actively chase us down. God will do whatever it takes to make us aware of God's unending, powerful presence. So I invite you to take some time to be honest about how you are feeling. What are the names of the enemies threatening you right now? From what do you need protection? In your vulnerability, recognize that God is here, protecting you and pursuing you with goodness and mercy all the days of your life and even into eternity. Rest easy, friends. We are not alone, and we are loved beyond our understanding.